Okay.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Alex Preissig. I am the Clinical Sciences Student Representative on the Alumni Council for Ross. And I'm here tonight joined by Dr. Anita Lau, class of 2005, who will be speaking about some tips and advice for financial life and other insights after medical school. And Dr. Lau, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi again, everyone. I'm Dr. Lau. I am currently in Calgary, Alberta. So you may think, oh, this is for Canadians. But I actually did do my training in in Detroit. So first I went to University of Toronto. I graduated from Ross in 2005. It might seem a long time ago, but it is 20.5 years exactly. I then did my residency in anatomic and clinical pathology and at Wayne State University in Detroit. So you can see the proximity that I enjoyed being in Detroit, and which was close to Toronto. And I used to drive approximately every 1 to 2 months to go home to Toronto. I then did my forensic pathology fellowship at Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office in Detroit, Michigan. I then worked as my first job in Calgary, Alberta, actually. And then I went to Toronto, where it was home. And I actually moved back to Calgary, Alberta, for various reasons, more personal reasons and financial reasons. That's one of the reasons why I was interested in this, because it was a big financial setback in Toronto for decisions that I had made. And I will go into that and give you some insight. So you might say, okay, well, she had Canadian loans. I actually did not. My parents were working in the United States at the time. So they had their friends as co-signers for private loans. And that was the way we were able to fund. I have a brother as well who is from Ross. So he was able to get a co-signer through my dad, and I received a co-signer through my mom. And we received about 150,000 US at the time. I mean, this is 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So it's a considerable amount of time, but you're probably the amount that you guys are borrowing are probably double. Hopefully not double. Calvin goes jealous at those numbers. Okay, so some of the facts that we'll speak about. So, as I just said, you do have a big loan. So, for us, it was a big loan and it was stressful because not only do you have to get through residency, you do need to find a job. And it is stressful from the day you start. You're like, I need to pass everything. I can't have any hiccups. I need to pay back this loan because you realized, right, after medical school, you've passed, you have your residency slot. Now you got to do well and you have to succeed and pass your boards, right? That's the next challenge after obtaining the residency, is passing your boards. After you pass your boards, you need a job. It's just one big problem after the next, or big goal, not a problem, but a goal. So your average salary, and this is variable, it can go up from 50,000 to 100,000. It was about 29 to 30,000 for me, so roughly half. Where, I tell people, you're not going to be buying houses or doing all these big elaborate things unless you have some pocket change or rich relatives or something, but you're going to get by. You're going to get your standards, your transportation, your place to live, your clothing, things. You're going to have your basics for residency, right? But there's a lot of factors, right? Of what's your variable, like how wide are you going to go? Are you going to be extreme in spending because you have nothing to do? Are you going to be um frugal, right, and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? It really depends on your lifestyle and what your goals and priorities are in life. So I said, for the next 3 to 7 years, depending on the years of fellowship and whatnot, a place to live, furnished, unfurnished, transportation. Are you going to have a car? Are you going to take public transit? Are you going to live close enough to the hospital, right? Or to walk or to bicycle or to take the train? The climate. You're like, why does climate affect it? Well, there's many reasons why climate affects it. And I am in the north and I have winter tires and I need snow boots and I need coats and I need, not your Walmart type coat because it's minus 40 Celsius here. So we need good winter clothing and 2 or 3 layers, base layers. Then you need clothes, you need furnishings, because of wherever you live, you need sofas, chairs, microwaves, all these things if they're not included. So these are all factors that realize this is just life, right? These are life. You have your cell phone plan, which I know most of you already have. We did not have back in the day because we did not have cell phones. Streaming services, TV, like where, right? All of this costs money, right? And now you have your salary. You probably don't want to borrow, use of and like an extra line of credit or whatnot. You have your salary from residency. So where do we go there? And then after all of this, you have to pay back the loan. And you're like, wow, okay, where do I go from here? So residency, you need a place to live. Consider the factors. Are you in a relationship? Do you need a larger place? Do you need a 2-bedroom? Do you need a single bedroom will work, or a studio? You have a partner who needs a separate room, you need, or you have a roommate, another resident, co-resident who will share the space with you. Do you have family? Do you have kids? Do you need 3 bedrooms, right? Do you need a backyard? All these things. And then obviously you have to look at schools. Like there's many factors on where you're going to live during residency, right? And then that is something for me personally, I don't like a long commute. It's like we've worked so hard. Why should you be sitting in traffic for 45 minutes? I just feel I can be using my time to better myself as opposed to sitting in the car. But some people like that 45 minutes in the car to de-stress, to just zone out, right? No phones, you're on the open road, plus or minus traffic, right? So everyone is different and you have to do what works for you. But I personally like living within 15, 20 minutes of my work and no more. So the commute, gas vehicle, now you have options of an electric vehicle. You need gasoline for that, you need insurance. So let's just go back, right? We're just talking about places to live. How are you going to get there? What mode of transportation? Are you going to live in apartment, condo? Will you have parking and utilities? Okay, I'm going to go more into this, right? So, okay. Renting versus, oops. Yes, hello?
I'm so sorry. I'm Calvin.
Hi, Calvin. Go ahead.
So I know not all residencies offer it, but I do know that, like, for example, residencies in New York offer like resident stipends for like housing and things. How often on your journey were you running into residencies where they were offering stipends to help with housing?
Not money, unless it's something that's new. It's something I've never heard of that, but it could be something new because of the financial like hole that everybody's in this, day and age where everything is so expensive so rapidly. It's something that they could be offering, and that would be something you can inquire about if it's applicable to you. So these are the things
Okay,
that you
thank
should write down and ask before you even begin your residency. Because I have, if like, I'm not sure if the audience is third year students or fourth year, but fourth year would probably have matched already and are moving toward their new city. But third year students are still going to go into the match process. So renting versus owning a home. I mean, most of us have had relatives who we've lived with who have rent to pay, mortgage to pay. So renting, right? I know I rented. I know many people who do rent because again, you don't have the capital, you don't have the down payment, you have a huge loan and you don't have anything extra. Can you take a line of credit? Hey, if you're able to, but most of us were not. So I rented for many years and it took me many years to actually buy. I think I bought one or two condos first after several years of working, just once I got myself together and established. So rent, and then again, utilities have to be paid. Wi-Fi, for example, how much, sometimes Wi-Fi is included. There's little perks of renting like that. How much space do you need? Are you able to work from home? So that's something that's new. We were never able to work from home. Now is your part of your little kitchen is that going to be where your breakfast area going to be enough for you to sit down and work, right? But then you got to think about your posture. You don't want to be leaning over, right? You want a proper desk space, proper height, everything. So you know, if you are going to work from home, if able, because again, I don't know in residency if they let you or not. You want to be prepared for that. Owning a home, credit history, property tax. HOAs are for when you're in those, again, I don't know all the American things, but I know it's HOA if you're in those kind of, how do you say it, those enclosed housing areas where they provide swimming pools and facilities and stuff that you actually have to pay for monthly. Then lawn care, snow removal, again, utilities, right? Because that's a big one. Utilities can be a lot, especially, you know, in all countries, regardless. Transportation, owning a vehicle. So I was fortunate that my dad actually bought me a vehicle. He bought me a Toyota Corolla. It was fantastic. I took really good care of it. He helped me with the insurance. So I had to pay for the gas and obviously pay for the winter tires and parking, because usually most places don't include parking. At the hospital, you have to pay for parking. Usually you have to pay for parking, but not always. It just depends on how rich the hospital is, I guess, and if they provide parking during residency. Because as a staff, you usually are going to have to pay for parking. And again, that could be anywhere from $50 to $150. When I worked in Toronto for about 15 years, I paid $125 a month for parking for 15 years. And you guys might leave, what? I'm like, that's $17,000 I will never get back. So these are the things that you may not think about right now, but these should be factors for your future. But again, if where you live, how close, it's what what you're used to, and what luxuries you want, but you also deserve. So how long will you keep the vehicle? Do you prefer to drive a new car every 4 years? I find it very, very common that the doctors I work with throughout often lease. I don't know why. They just maybe want to drive a new car every 3 to 4 years. I was surprised because I'm the person, maybe it's the upbringing. My parents always bought the car and we drove it till it died. So maybe that's the reason I want to do that. Is it the same? Is it better? I don't know. I mean, I have an idea now that I'm actually purchasing a vehicle today. So I'm going after this webinar to the car dealership because I just purchased a car with 0% financing. So I was very happy about that. And when we talked about leasing the vehicle, it was in the end, you know, it just turned out it was the same. It was a similar price, but because I have a young son and he doesn't care about cars and all that, I said, you know what, I need to keep the car. I'm going to purchase it. And then it's my problem after that. So yeah, costs are similar over the lifetime of the vehicle. You may have other people and friends who may advise you differently. And again, everyone has their own experiences and it's the information's out there. You just really have to crunch numbers. Public transportation, for example, you're in New York City, right? Are you going to take the train? What's the pass cost? Is it $50 a month? Is it, I remember back in the day, it was 55, 60. Those in New York would obviously correct me. It might be 75 now for the New York subway pass. It's been many years for me since I've been there. And then buying a bicycle, are you going to buy, would you buy? It's kind of a very economical way to live as a resident if able, because now you've got all types of tires, you've got snow tires, you know. And I knew someone at work who he was staff. He wasn't even a physician. He rode his bicycle every day for exercise and it was amazing. Even wind, snow, rain, he rode his bike and I thought that was amazing. Climate, and I did mention this before, if you are buying a house or if you're renting, things like hail, snow, tornadoes, wind, depending on where in the United States you are. I obviously am up north, but northern states, Seattle and Oregon, all these places, Chicago, they all get a lot of snow as well as New York. So these are the things you just have to keep in mind. Snow tires. Are you going to be skiing every weekend? Is that something it's very expensive, obviously, but it's something if you want to do, because again, you've been through medical school, you've killed yourself, you got there, now you're going to have to go through residency, you got to kill yourself yet again. What is your fun time, right? How are you going to spend your extra time? House repairs. Oh, that obviously things go broke all the time. And if you obviously own, that's just yet more problems. But if you rent, at least you'll have a landlord, and it depends how respondent they are to receptive to your problems, and whether it can be fixed and not, and if you'll be able to take a hot shower at your place, or are you going to do it at the hospital? Personal items. Again, you need new clothes, right? Because now you're in residency. You're not on the island. You're not going to be wearing shorts and t-shirts anymore. You got to actually wear a little bit more formal clothing, right? They will provide scrubs. Usually they'll provide the white coats, but now you need to have at least semi-formal clothes underneath. You don't generally wear jeans in the hospital unless on Fridays. So these are all things that cost money, like almost like startup costs, right? You need proper shoes. You're going to be running around, some residencies, obviously running shoes are applicable. You can wear them, but again, and not in all residencies and specialties, right? Just really depends. Furnishings, beds, sofa, tables. If you do get an unfurnished place to live, well, now you go to buy furniture, right? So that's just more expense. What are the bare necessities? Get a bed, get a table, get some chairs, right? Microwave, not usually that expensive. A few basic items. You need pots, you need pans. I mean, these things start adding up, as you know. But they're all things that you have to take into consideration. Because I do remember, I think I was near a Target or Meijer, and I was in Michigan in Detroit, so we went to Meijer all the time to buy things of this nature. But they had, like thrift stores and that you can get cheaper or secondhand items as well. So appliances, obviously, the appliances will be included, and I something that's different from Canada and the U.S. If you buy a house, usually you have to buy a laundry machine and a dryer. People seem to take them with them, port them with them, which I found was strange. In Canada, we leave our washer and dryer with the house, and it's just something that was different. And another thing about buying a house, I wanted to say that you guys don't know, that's something I just recently learned. When we buy a house here in Canada, the mortgage rate doesn't last for as long as you live there. We have to renew our mortgage every 3 to 5 years. You have a term and you renew it at the current rate. Because my understanding is in the United States, when you buy a house, you have that mortgage rate for like 30 years. And I don't know if it's portable from one house to the other, but I understand that you're keeping that mortgage rate, which is amazing. But it's not like that for us. So other things, cell phone plans, streaming services instead of cable TV. You need a TV to watch, or you use your laptop for the first few years, and then food and basic necessities of life. You will have food at the cafeteria, which is generally cheaper. You might just do mac and cheese for the first year, whatever works, whatever's cheap and whatever you're able to. And now we'll talk about, after all of this, the clock is going to start ticking to pay back your loan. So now, based on what loan you have to find out the conditions of your loan. My loan, it was private with a co-signer. I did not have to pay the interest. I guess the interest was accrued, so I had to pay everything back after residency, and that's what I preferred. When I had a job, I was going to pay my loan then, and that's what I did. And you're still considered in training when you are in residency. Some people, if you can defer it somehow, but you need to look at the details of the exact loan that you are. Like some people would defer it till they have a job or pay a minimum amount, depending on your situation. Find out if your residency program offers a student loan repayment in exchange for a commitment to work in an underserved area. So if you might choose an underserved area to work with, and as their package, they'll say, okay, we will repay your loan X amount, full amount, up to 100,000. And that's something obviously you want to look seriously into, because that is bonus money. No one's ever going to give you that amount of money for anything. So if I was able to, because we don't have that in pathology. So if I was in clinical medicine and I had that opportunity, I would jump at it without doubt. Because you know what? To get rid of that loan is one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your future, obviously. So pay your loan off as soon as possible. That is something I guess I wish I had done faster. I paid it off. I had to transfer the loan in Canada, so they paid off the US, whoever was a loan. So my co-signer was off the hook, and that was like when I started my first job in Alberta. Royal Bank of Canada paid off the US banks, and we made a package, and I paid Royal Bank of Canada. So I wish I had put a little bit more money so I didn't take as long, because again, I wanted to buy the car. I wanted to buy the nice things. It's just after how many years of university, medical school, residency, you're like, it's delayed gratitude, right? Delayed gratification. I'm like, I need my stuff now. So I bought the new car. I didn't buy a house. I was still renting. And after a couple of years, I did buy a condo. I started with a condo to condo, then to house when I had my child. So you can pay your minimum payment, that'll extend the life of your loan, which I don't think you should do. Because once you have that loan paid off, again, you'll have a mortgage at some point, right? And maybe not if you want to rent for the rest of your life. It's your option, and the people definitely do that. Invest in a retirement program, which is what I did. I did do 403. I also went to Fidelity. That was in Michigan. It was like Freedom 55 or something. And so from residency, I did pay into that for what it was like for 4 or 5 years of residency. I paid into this Fidelity program. And again, now I'm in Canada, but that money is still there. So when I'm eligible, I can go there and use it. I will have to declare it as income. But at least I know it's there. So invest in a property, a house. So instead of anything extra you have, if you think you have enough to pay for a house or to get a down payment, maybe your parents will help you with a down payment, or whoever it is will help you with a down payment, then you can continue to pay that mortgage instead of paying rent. You can also do something like a high interest savings plan. Anything helps, anything as soon as possible. And then you want to buy your few new personal items. As I said, like I bought my car, I bought a blender, I bought a watch, I bought things that I actually didn't have, as silly as it sounds. So I made an example. I use this, I just Googled, I said, how do I calculate state income tax? And this smartasset.com came up and told me, okay, well, if your salary is 60,000, you have to pay federal tax, whatever this FICA tax is. Again, you guys know more of all this stuff, state tax. And don't forget, for state tax, some states don't have a state tax, right? Texas, Florida, Arkansas. You guys know more of them, maybe Tennessee. You guys know more of that than I. Don't have state income tax. So you, again, will benefit from those savings. And then whatever the local tax is in Lansing. So the total income tax is 12,500, and you take home 47 when your salary was approximately 60. And obviously the academic year is July 1st to June 30th for the rest of your life anyways. So you have a net pay of 47. I will either get paid bi-weekly or monthly. And this is just an example. This is real life. Again, the numbers may be off. I did my best to approximate. It is monthly. You guys know more of the payment than I do, but I did a Google search of how much does it cost for a 2-bedroom condo or apartment in Lansing, and it gave me $1,400. You need insurance. If you are driving a car, you have a car insurance, you have a car payment. Everyone needs Wi-Fi now. You have your streaming services, groceries. I mean, plus or minus, I wrote personal items because you do have to buy toiletries. You have to buy the basics, right? Eggs and food, because the hospital will provide you cheap food, but you also have food breakfast and weekends and whatnot. Gasoline, plus or minus, it's really high right now. Hopefully you have a energy efficient vehicle. And then electric vehicle may be something you have or you're interested in. At the hospital, there may be electric parking spots. Again, it's just really where you are. It's something to investigate. Phone plan, plus or minus. Utilities, as always. Entertainment. I just put, it's all like, what's your pocket change? What's your fun time? Whatever you guys like to do, and I don't know. Movies, tennis, golf. Do you party? Do you go clubbing? Do you drink alcohol? Do you need a spa day? You got to get your massage, your nails done. You got to get haircuts. Whatever your fun. I just put 200 a month, obviously maybe an underestimate. But that itself, I just wanted to show you how much that cost. It was 3,000 a month and you're getting 3,600. So you see where my problem is? Oh, hold on a sec. Did I lose you guys? You're still there? Hello?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, sorry, I think I was playing with the electrical cord down below. Sorry about that. Okay, so it costs $3,000 a month. So you're talking a pocket change of 600. It's not a lot of wiggle room. And that's what I mentioned in the beginning. Residency is not for you to buy houses. You have to be able to live and have a little bit of pocket change. And then plus or minus some of these, because you may have your family helping you and whatnot. There's plus and minuses of what your personal financial life will look like, right? We're all different. We're all starting at different levels. I've met people who said, my parents paid my loans for me. They paid for medical school for me. And I was like, wow, you guys are lucky, right? They're the ones who have the houses, who have the nice cars, who have everything paid for. And they're just lucky. And I wish I could be like that. So other ways to increase income during residency. I wanted to include this because it was never off. I couldn't do it because in pathology, we don't moonlight. There is an option to do gift of life. You take away the eyeballs or you donate eyeballs and tissue grafting and not. But I was never involved in that. So you can moonlight, you do extra shifts. Those are I know a lot of people did that back in the day. Mostly like emergency medicine or like internal medicine, family practice were able to do a lot of moonlighting. So that's something definitely you're like, look, I want to pay that loan. I want to do the moonlighting. But again, you have to watch your wellness. Paid medical surveys is quite common. I do have seen people get, if it's a couple hundred, hey, whatever it is, anything is better than nothing. Medical writing, editing, reviewing. This is another avenue of revenue. It's all online. You guys can find it. You're all good at Googling. And again, then you ask your program director, look, what can I do, right? Everyone has information. It's just, you got to ask the right questions. Non-medical, hey, you want to be a bartender, drive Uber, be an influencer, whatever is your gig. Being a musician, if you want to go every weekend, you play with your band, you guys make $800 and you split it 4 ways, whatever. Hey, if that works for you, do it. It's a source of income and that's fun because it's something that you can enjoy. If you do product sales, I know people who have made candles or they sell jams, my son has a lot of sports cards, whatever is your jam that you can get money from that you want to dedicate the time to is also another way of making money. Obviously investing, I didn't put investing, but investing obviously is a big part, right? Like I mentioned earlier, the 401, the 403, which is what I chose. How can you decrease your monthly expenses? So, because I still face this right now, it's something I commonly, like with my son, he wants to eat fast food every day. And I'm like, no, it doesn't make financial sense to go eat Burger King and A&W every single day. So beware of costs of items before purchasing. And the big question is, do you really need this? It's like, no, we have it. Can't find it at the moment, but I will. So we'll delay buying it. Have your parents or relatives pay for your phone. Obviously, they could be included in a family plan, or you have a family car that you used to drive during university that you can maybe pick up again and have support to pay for. Maybe the insurance will be less now. Have a roommate. Obviously, if you can tolerate one. I could never tolerate a roommate. I was want to be on my own type of person. Use public transport, bicycle. We've already said that, but that eliminates your car payment, your insurance, your gas, your repairs, right? To fix a bike is not that expensive. Obviously, shop at Walmart and all these other discount stores. I know you guys have Aldi. At least I don't know where in the US, but it's so incredibly cheap. I was like, this is insane. I wish we had it up here in the north. I would say stay away from Costco and Sam's Club, because as you know, you can spend anywhere from $200 to $500 every time you visit. It is not a safe place to go. Unless you're buying meats, I guess, meats, toilet paper, some basics. And then use your benefits, because most of the time you will have hospital benefits, and that will, for eyeglasses, sunglasses, you'll get massages, you'll get all those extras, which might be enough for you. You might not need more than that to benefit for wellness, right? You always have to think of wellness. One thing I can say is a gym membership, because I like to go to the gym. Well, is there a gym at the hospital? That'll save you $50, $60 a month, if not $100 a month on your gym membership. So these are things that you can do by inquiring, by asking questions on eliminating debt. So that's my short and sweet significant life moments. One of the things I want to say why I left Toronto was I had $1 million mortgage. And when I spoke to my counterparts in the US, and they're like, why do you have $1 million mortgage? I said, because that's what it costs in Toronto to live 15 to 20 minutes from my work. And that was a huge mistake, but I enjoyed my life when I did, where I lived and whatnot. But I moved to Alberta, and I obviously don't have $1 million mortgage, because the houses are like 1/3 the price here. So I actually have 1/3 of mortgage of that. What else? And then, like my car just recently broke down. I've got 0% financing, which I thought for me was a win. Sure, the interest might be incorporated into the price, but at least I feel better knowing that I'm not paying extra for the interest, at least not, out loud kind of thing. Get also a financial advisor. That's something I could tell you. Banks have a lot of, and even maybe credit unions have a lot of plans for doctors. Once they know you're a doctor, they will give you cheaper line of credits. They will give you $100,000, $200,000 extra, like more now, because they know you're going to need it. So it really depends on you and what your needs are, and what you think your life will look like. So, do you guys have any questions? Anyone? Can I go ahead and ask you guys like where you are in your studies right now?
I'm at the end of my third year, so my graduation timeline is November of next year.
Okay.
Um,
And what internal medicine or?
I'm applying psych, so I have
Okay.
been looking at like using PSLF to kind of help with repayment plans. There's no guarantee for it in the future, based on, our political climate. However, if it's
Yes.
still there, that
Yes.
is kind of where I was leaning toward to kind of help minimize loan repayment status.
Yes. Okay. And then I don't know if psych has any like underserved areas or anything of that nature where you could work in terms of residency places, like programs in the middle of nowhere. I'm not
Um,
sure.
Mostly, so I'm in Chicago, so we
Okay.
do have designated areas, and so I do work at a not-for-profit that I have access to, that's also designated for it. So, yes, the answer.
Okay. Okay. Well, excellent. So those you need to pursue those. That'll be excellent. I hope that's something you can get for your future. And then I think we have, is it Doina? That's what it says here. Doina, are you there? Hi. Okay. Alex, do you have any questions?
I don't. I think that was very comprehensive and very thorough. You touch on a lot of different considerations
Yes.
that I feel like people wouldn't normally think of unless they actually go through and realize, oh shoot, like this is a problem now that I had not considered. So this is like pretty valuable for
Thank you.
deciding where you're going to be, not only in residency, but like also when you decide where you want to go and settle down as an attending.
Yes.
So this was, I think this was important information to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very practical life. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I have no courses. This is like life. This is straight on life. And things I wish maybe I had done differently. Why did I take on such a large mortgage? And I'm a single income family. So again, when you have two incomes, you have more problems, but you have more just, a salary, times two. And that obviously helps. But then you have a family, you have, whether it be cats, dogs, children, that just, nothing is free and nothing is cheap, which will just add to the financial burden. But, I do believe that obviously I am, it was very like a good feeling to be debt free. Like I have to say that. I am taking on this car loan, but again, it's zero interest. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. It's fine. It's not a big deal because again, I am debt free. It's just nice. It is really, really nice. And all of you will get there without a doubt. I do have a colleague. Unfortunately, she's 2019, she started her job. So I guess in her 7th year, and she went back to training from Canada. She went back. She did her fellowship in the US, worked in Canada for 5-6 years, and now back in the US for 3 years of fellowship. And she still has, 350,000 Canadian, which is about a 200,000 American loan still over her head. It's still $350,000 for us. So she obviously did not prioritize that, but prioritized massages and new cars and getting her hair done every week and nails done every week. And all of these add expenses. I know you're all, I don't know what doing, but these things add to the expenses if you don't prioritize that loan. I'm not saying like I have a kid in hockey now. That's my debt, right? So I have a 9-year-old who wants to play hockey and it is not cheap. So I still sacrifice to this day doing things for me because it's now your priorities are changed. It's for your children, or whatever your priorities might be in the future. So, you're going to have parents and family and relatives to take care of, right? Things change with time. And that's what makes us Caribbean Ross Med students resilient, right? We're able to handle the stresses of these things. So.
Yes, I definitely agree. Well, thank you so much for presenting tonight, Dr. Lal. I think it was very valuable information. I appreciate everyone coming to the session tonight, and I will go ahead and stop the recording.
Thank you.